told my father there's somebody in there. He said, stay away from there, see? There'll be no steel. The steel was on our place.
Yeah,
Now, was that down the old,
that was in the, that shed
That
has
shed.
been there up until the last couple of years. Now,
No, not even a year,
it's
about a
not-
year ago.
Yeah, they
Somebody,
tore it down.
somebody tore it down.
it's not too, well, they used to
They
call
made
it
a house out of it.
The barn,
we used to call it tank house.
Well, a little tank in there.
Yeah, what I mean.
There was no tank there, huh?
What year was
They had
this?
chickens there and everything, though.
What year was
Oh,
this
yeah,
that all this took
Papa had
place?
chickens, he had
1920s.
chickens, he had a garden.
1920s?
He had a few chickens.
1918, 1920.
You know the railroad track used to turn around there in Los
Yes,
Banos?
right.
Right in the middle there, that there.
Right there at the end, the west end of Rice Street.
Yeah.
Story barn.
Oh, that's where the house was, and
That's where the garden-
That's
That's
where
where
this.
the garden.
No, that's, we
Oh,
didn't live there. We didn't live there.
Oh, you didn't live there.
He had about 2 acres there.
About to where the garden,
No,
everything was
more than that,
home.
about 3 acres.
But that's where this all happened.
Right across.
Well, I know we used to make beer and put it down the cellar.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
the
Well,
old
Mama,
place.
yeah, Mama used to
We did
live
that
there.
right.
That's a new place.
Root beer.
Oh, the new place, yeah, that's
I
right.
helped him,
Oh, yeah.
work him, you know, with the.
So he was kind of notorious then, huh?
You could hear the.
He had his little mischievous side.
Well, they made it too strong one time, they broke
Tell
half
me
the
what do you
bottom.
want? What's the tea or water?
They couldn't arrest him, I mean, they couldn't find him or anything because he had rented the place to these other two guys that had a still in there, the great big tank. You know,
He
with
got
the
his
big
share of the
wine.
barrels. I know he got a percentage. He was selling it, too.
So anyway, they couldn't find him because they didn't have evidence on him. They thought the evidence were against these other
He
two
was
guys.
pretty foxy then.
Because he rented the place, but the only mistake he made is when he rented the place, they didn't make out papers. You know, when you rent a place nowadays, you gotta make the papers.
Sure.
Well, I rented it so and so. Well, he didn't have that paper. That's why they took him to Fresno. That's why he had to go to trial.
Federal.
Fresno, right? That's why. But they couldn't.
But he didn't get out of the habit because he moved the country, and then after a few years, he
Had wine.
He made Joe Vamoose make his whiskey for him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the old wine.
Uh-huh.
Don't you remember, they came in, the French came in one time, we had barrels all along that chicken house of wine.
Oh, no.
And they came in and,
We didn't have no barrels of wine. You know where it was?
This is great.
Gee,
The
I'm
wine
sure
was
I
at the
learned
tank house.
something.
no, I mean, this is the old home place,
Yeah, the home place.
or, on Reynolds.
Yeah.
I guess men appreciate
Yeah,
this
you
kind of
see,
stuff
the
more.
feds-
I wasn't gonna bring it
The
up.
feds made a raid.
Made a raid then to other country.
The feds made a raid and got all them Italian guys, and they're walking in and with an axe, breaking their barrels open and pour it out.
So that was the end of the
The first one they hit was
Prohibition,
Favelo.
that's the prohibition.
Favelo, they hit him and they were going the other way, so he came over there and he told Papa, he said, the feds are coming. He said, they just broke mine, they're going over Carlucci's. My father said, I don't care. But you see, we had a tank house, but no way to get up there. You had to have a ladder. So we used to, he had a pulley up there, and then he had the barrels all around inside the tank house, and with a bucket, and we as kids pull it up
Pulley
there,
up the
and he'd
bucket.
pour it in the barrels,
Oh,
and it was all full. All
Hey,
he
he
had,
was
all
pretty
he had in the
clever.
bottom was a barrel of vinegar. you remember?
Yeah.
So
Oh,
anyway,
sorry.
the feds
That's
came,
what-
like Shorty said, they went all over the chicken houses, all over, looking
couldn't
for
find it.
And they finally come in there, he said, what do you got here? He said, it's vinegar. They didn't touch it. He said, what do you got up there? He said, water tank. How do you get up there? My father said, you fly.
Oh.
But the ladder wasn't there, see? So they couldn't get up there, so he was the only guy that they did not tear their wine up.
Isn't that
He
something?
was the only one in that country that still had wine, the rest of it was all on the ground.
I'll be darned. Now, isn't that's pretty interesting. He was a pretty clever guy.
Well, sure, he knew the ropes.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Well, I think that's
I
great.
didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't
That's
know
right,
that.
huh, Shorty?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he
I
said
remember
pretty
them.
I'll never forget us kids, boy.
It was after, it must have been after.
And
I
we're
yeah,
little bitty
yeah.
kids, I'll guarantee you, the marshals would get nothing out of us.
No.
Heck no.
Yeah,
My father
nobody
said-
squealed, huh?
Yeah.
Well, they did break a couple empty barrels or something, I
No,
don't know what it was.
no, not ours. They didn't touch the vinegar.
Oh, they didn't. But,
No.
but you guys didn't squeal, huh?
No,
Oh,
no.
heck, no.
There was no ladder there. You know these tank houses. And the thing up there, there's a pump the water.
Uh-huh.
The ladder's gone.
The water was gone.
Oh, yeah, he did, ladder around there.
So,
How'd he get up there? He said, fly. So they
that's
couldn't
pretty
what?
good.
Well, he made some whiskey while he was down, he had distilled down the cellar to us, down the cellar. Or, no, Vamoose had distilled.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He used to take the wine that got turned into vinegar, what took it over there, and then they spread it 50-50.
Oh.
Well, in fact, I still got some of that there. The stuff that he distilled. Well, one was about 1942 42 or 43.
Probably the last stuff he did, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, he could blend it.
Yeah.
He used to
Oh.
blend it and give it a color.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
But this was
So
a
he
real
knew how to
McCoy,
make it.
this was.
No, you know how to blend whiskey. He's done a good job. You
He
don't
was
remember none of that either, huh?
You cut it.
Oh, yeah.
See, I was married then, see?
Yeah.
Funny, Bill didn't know
Well, the
anything.
one he
Bill
had-
knew anything, he didn't say anything.
I had one of those bottles. I finally threw it away.
You
I
did
had it,
full? You did the stuff in?
the white stuff, yeah.
How come threw it away?
I don't know.
No, I still
It
got
was
some.
Probably didn't
especially-
like the taste of it
Probably.
this many years.
That was
huh?
100 proof.
Oh,
Yeah.
heck, yes, well,
Finally,
Pop
I had it for years and years and years.
had it inside, but no, way in the back of the cellar. And way up there, I think it was 2 gallons. In gallon jars.
What do you think we drank coffee?
Daddy, I
Royals, but
went
he
down
never
there one
to
day,
the
and
store
he
and bought any.
cleaned things out.
He drank the coffee royals from his own
So I gave,
distillery,
he
huh?
took
But I
a
got
gallon,
home.
I took a gallon.
He'd come home, he'd
They're
come, one
walking up
time,
the stairs, he's
he'd go
tripping,
gambling, you know,
broke
in the
his gallon.
afternoons, and
Well,
always
that
went
later on
stop.
in years, yeah.
He'd
So I
stop,
gave
you
him-
know.
Later on in
and
years,
Gave him the-
years,
no,
yeah,
part of mine.
years ago, that's all we had.
Huh?
You said Daddy broke his?
Yeah,
Oh, golly.
walked up the stairs, you know, we found it back there. Way in the back.
Broke what?
See
What did he break?
A couple gallons of, that white,
Whiskey.
Oh.
150 proof.
Oh, gee, 150 proof. My
Well, it
goodness.
was 4.
Now it's fine.
Holy Toledo. Well, then, Mama, you say here that you didn't like, your brothers didn't like living in town. They were always out visiting their friends that lived in the country.
That was Frank.
Huh?
That's right.
Frank?
Frank liked to
Uncle?
live in town.
Yeah,
I don't know,
that's the reason why we moved to Dawson
That's
House.
the reason my dad says we're going to move to town, because he couldn't keep track of Frank, he was gone.
Oh.
That's why.
He'd be gone for 2-3 days at a time.
So then they thought, better move him out to the country,
Because
huh?
Frank hated work.
Oh.
We moved to town, and him and Pop never got along. They fought, so he took off. He went to work for wages. As a young kid, he went to...
He used to ride the milk truck with Johnny Cape Lewis, remember?
Well,
Those great big milk trucks that they used to go to different ranches and pick up the milk.
He used to
Frank
go
used to
with,
do that?
he used to go with the Ramassos across
Oh,
the hill.
Ramassos,
across the
Ramassos,
Pacheco
right.
Pass.
Ramassos too.
He'd gone all day and all night, see? So
So
Dad
Papa said-
decided, he said, well, I'm going to buy a ranch and get him out of here.
Yeah, so then he,
When he got the ranch, he never helped on the ranch. Frank left home when he was a young boy, 15 or 16 years old. He was gone.
he didn't like that work, huh?
Heck no, he went to work for himself.
He didn't like milk cows,
So
or
we ended up,
one thing.
Danny and I worked, and Shorty, he was
He'd come
smaller.
home for a little while. He would stay for a
Yeah,
while.
but don't remember him milking, there was
He never had no
milk.
work, Frank never worked at the ranch.
He didn't like it.
Well, he milked cows for a while.
Not much.
Oh, he
'Cause
stayed-
'cause I remember
he
him-
was on the ranch for a while, because I remember a lot of times they'd cut the hay, okay, you cut the hay one day, you let it lay on the ground, then you rake it the next day, rake it in one rows, you know. Then the third day you go make those shocks. Then the fourth day with the horse and, two horses in a wagon, you go
I
by and
never done
haul.
much of that.
Okay,
No,
Frank
he
would
didn't
be,
do none of that.
Frank would be up on the top of the wagon, you know, and he'd say, to us kids that were putting shocks on the hay on the wagon, he'd say, well, shut that shock right here, just turn it over and put it right here. Okay, come back here.
Yeah, my job was on the
So when
wagon
he
all the
wasn't
time.
looking, instead of putting it right there, I'd throw it at him.
Yeah, throw
Oh,
it back.
gee.
Then he'd jump
She was
off of
on
the wagon, start chasing me.
Here they go,
were
around
running
the
those- Chasing one around those big
They
roads,
fought
you
like
know.
cats and dogs.
She
huh?
was just
She
as
was a
un-
real
she always
tomboy.
blamed him, but she
Yeah,
was
she
just
was
as
just as
uneasy
unreal.
as
Oh, I know that.
Well,
Well,
what I
was a
remember
tease.
about Frank,
was
though,
a
he used to
tease.
milk. Well, not very much, but he did milk, but he always had a Western magazine
Oh, yeah.
On his knee.
Okay.
on his knee,
Oh,
milking cow and reading at the same time.
In the toilet, in his toilet.
And it taught, no matter where he went, he
When
had
you go to the bathroom, we
You
take
go
it
to,
with
you
him.
go to the outside toilet and sit
Stay
there
for
for 2
hours.
hours reading the
Read
magazine.
the book.
Western,
Those
That's no
romance
good.
things.
then had to get Millie there to hold the cow's tail.
Yeah, right.
In those days, they didn't have inside toilets, so they didn't know any
Oh,
difference.
it is.
that's right.
Right.
Well, we used to have monkey wards in the toilet.
Yeah, that
Oh, yeah, all
was
the,
the,
and the Sears magazine.
that was
I
the,
remember
that was
Yes.
the MD toilet tissue, huh?
We used to have a goat. I remember the goat.
The goat? What was
I remember the goat. Well, I couldn't go to the bathroom by myself unless I ran.
Oh, really?
I'd take that goat and come
That
after
goat
me,
would
chase
come after you?
Yeah.
No
So you do
kidding.
bend over that goat and sneak up on you.
I remember that.
Now this was all in Dawes Palace. So he sold his house in Las Vegas, and he traded his garden and for this property in
And
Dawes
2
Palace.
houses in Las
And
Vegas.
2 houses.
We had 2 houses. One was facing the main street and one was facing the alley.
And
Remember,
he's
you boys remember?
Traded or sold those 2 houses, and he got this ranch with a few cows.
30 acres with 30 cows. I don't know.
And then you guys went to a country school. It was called North Star School.
Right.
and you had to walk to school about 2 miles every day.
Walk 1 mile over and 1
1
mile
mile
back.
back,
In the
over
mud, in the mud.
In the mud, gee.
Rainy weather sometimes, Papa didn't take us with horse and buggy.
And then, Mama,
Very
it
seldom.
says here that you only went through part of the 9th grade, then you had to quit because the neighbors told my folks the girls
Yeah.
shouldn't go to school because after all, I would probably just get married and raise a family.
That was Mr. Carlucci.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
Joe
the one that
Carlucci's
said that.
father. Yeah, that Carlucci.
Well, she's a girl. What does she have to go to school for? Boys are different. They should go to school because they're going to learn something and be the breadwinner someday. Boys naturally had to have the education, but girls didn't. I cried. So you
I
didn't
don't
want to
think-
quit.
I don't
But
think-
anyway, Mr. Carlucci's the one that did that, huh?
I don't think none of the Colucci, none of the Colucci's finished school. did
No,
they?
I don't
They
think so. The
didn't?
2
No.
girls didn't. Two
Well, he
girls
didn't believe
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Well, he didn't believe in it for
I think,
anybody then. His
Joe's the
family
only
or
guy
he
went
was
to school.
I
friends?
think Dominic's
Oh,
only one.
really? Joe was the only one
Yeah,
in
I
school?
think
Oh,
Dominic.
Joe went because he went to business college, right out of
Business
high school,
college,
right out of grammar school.
But none of the other family went.
Hill's Business College, yeah, because when we moved the ranch, I remember, when we moved the ranch, he had just graduated from, Hill's Business College in Fresno, and he went to work, I don't know, in Fresno, in Los Banos now. I don't know, one of the banks in Los Banos.
American Trust.
Him and Jimmy Carlucci,
Bank of Italy at that time.
Bank,
um,
well, it could have been
Bank
back
of
in
Italy.
Italy.
him
Yeah.
and Jimmy Carlucci, you know the Jimmy Carlucci I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Cool, but he was Jimmy Carlucci, and
He took Jimmy's job away from him.
something like that. Yeah, well, something happened there that he worked for him. Jimmy went to let him start doing other things, got out of the banking business. I don't know what he was doing.
Well, Mom, it says here that you played basketball in school. When you were in school, you liked athletics, and so you played basketball, and you were real good, and you played forward. And one day you had to travel out of town to play a game, and
Banos.
you forgot to tell your parents that you were going. So in the
didn't tell them
meantime,
because
they were home
couldn't
having a
go.
fit.
I couldn't go if he
Where's
was.
Millie? Well, no Millie. What they call you?
Maluch.
Maluch. Where's Maluch? They didn't know what had happened to me. Finally, I came home, and when I got there, I had to tell them why I was so late in getting home. Well, my father said that was the end. You're not playing anymore, so I had to drop off the team. So since I couldn't go to high school, I stayed home and helped on the ranch. My sister Dolly was born, then Bobby came along 2 years later, and then my sister Alvita was born 18 months after him. I would have to stay at home and watch over the kids while my mother would go out and weed her garden. Sometimes I'd stir soup and spaghetti sauce that she had cooking on the stove. That's what I did most of the time. What I really loved, though, was being outside with my father. I would go with him to rake hay. We'd go out in the big hay wagon that was pulled by 2 horses, put the hay in the shocks in the wagon, then take it to the barn and feed the cows. I never had to milk the cows, though. But Uncle Shorty said you didn't have to milk the cows, but you had to hold the cows' tails.
Yeah, right. If Frank was in the barn.
And
She had to be there.
so you tell us about when you had to stay and help hold the tail while Uncle Frank milked the cow.
Because he wouldn't do, so, oh, she's
He-
got to work too. And if
He,
we went out in the
right.
field,
Oh, yeah, I had to be right
she had to
there
go
with
with
him.
him.
I had to do something, right? No, what is she, the queen? What is she going to do in the house? She's not doing anything in the house. Let her come out here and help us. So he'd tell me to hold the tail, so I was holding the tail.
It'd slip us a while though.
On purpose.
Then the fight beat
Yeah,
up.
They were
holding the
devils,
tail,
huh?
you know. The cows, they were always switching. There's a lot of flies.
Well,
They
flies,
I guess
yeah,
more flies
flies.
there are now. And the cows were always switching their tails, and so I was standing over there, and he was busy reading the magazine, you know, milking the cows.
Slip across the
I
face.
said, "Pooey on him." So I turned loose in the tail, and it swirled right around his face. But, oh boy, he got so mad. It surprised him more than it hurt him, I think. So he got up off that stool, and boy, did he chase
Then the
me.
run- then the chase
my
began,
God,
huh?
the chase was on, right.
Oh, dear. And then, after that, I guess, is when you had here that one day your father and your older brother had gone to field to shock some hay, and the mailman came and gave you the telegram. That was when they told you that Grandma's brother, her only brother, had passed away. And you said, anyway, I read the telegram to my mother, and it said that my Uncle Vito, my mother's only brother, had died. That's all it said. My brother said, no, it can't be. She was very upset. He was about 28 years old at the time, huh? He was a young fellow. My father went to the city to get Vito's body, and he found out that my uncle had committed suicide. He had turned on the burners of the gas stove and committed
They
suicide
told
that
us.
way.
That's what they told my father.
And I'll never forget how upset my mother
We
was,
don't know what happened.
because that was her only
Yeah.
living relative.
We
That's
really
they
don't
say
know
that.
what happened, because
Yeah.
that's all they told us, and Papa and Mama, you know, they didn't know too much, didn't know what to do or what, so it wasn't investigated or anything, so we just took their
He
word
didn't have
for it.
no, he didn't have no money
He
anyway.
didn't have any money, he didn't have any jewelry, and usually he was the kind of guy that always wore a
Oh, no,
stick
he-
pin, you
no,
know, and.
no, he had a
Oh,
jewelry. Frank got the wrist, his watch and the
Oh,
charger,
yeah?
oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, the
Well, I
gold
got one
watch.
of those little,
Yeah.
Oh.
little small ones, he
What
left
happened
it
to
at the
rings
house.
and
You know,
wristwatches and all
Elgin
that?
watch about that big around, gold,
Oh, yeah?
with all
Some-
the gold chains.
Oh,
Yeah, Frank got that,
he
I'll
got
never
it.
forget that.
Oh, okay.
And then,
Mama gave that to him.
Oh,
Where is it?
Frank's got it.
oh, now, yeah,
Oh,
geez, since
yeah.
Uncle's passed away.
Well, I got the little thing, I don't know where he used to wear his pocket, something like that too, the little
See, he
long-
didn't have,
that you
blew all his
open up,
money.
have two pictures in it,
Chasing women.
so I still got that.
Yeah, just like that
It's
picture
my house.
that
clothes.
I have here.
Yeah, clothes.
No, he never had no money.
He
He
didn't
liked
have
to
no
dress,
money.
huh?
And he lived in a hotel room, so he had no furniture.
Yeah,
He didn't have nothing,
so
see?
he didn't have much.
No.
Where'd Frank get the gold piece from?
The gold chain,
The 2.5 gold piece.
my mother gave it,
I think Mama gave it to him.
Mama gave all that stuff to him.
Frank?
Frank who?
Frank gave it to Mama.
Our
Well, it could
Frank,
have been now, I don't know.
Frank gave it to Mama because Mama gave it to me when I got
Oh.
engaged. And I've
well, I
got-
don't know where that come from. I don't think it was his.
It's a 2.5 gold piece,
Yeah.
made like a
But
necklace.
the watch, the gold watch that he wore all the time, you know, that's what everybody wore.
Gold watches.
Yeah,
Watch
the
with
man,
the chain
the man
fob.
like the
Well,
father.
well, everybody wore a double.
Because he wore a suit all his life, that's all the man wore.
Vito,
Yeah.
your Uncle Vito?
Oh, yeah.
He was a bartender.
He liked to dress up, huh?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, he was ladies' man.
Oh, yeah?
Chased women and 10 bars, all he did. He wasn't an alcoholic or drinker.
No.
But he,
No.
that was his
He
business.
didn't, very seldom, he didn't drink much at all, to Venice. But he did, I know that. Mama gave all that to Frank.
Well, I mean, nobody really knows, maybe it was,
Frank was Mama's,
Oh,
Pet?
yeah, right.
Oh,
First
yeah,
born,
she was his
first
pet?
born,
that was number one.
oh,
see?
yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
She
you know,
caused her a lot of heartaches and a lot
That's
of
right, yeah,
crying.
right.
Lot of-
Right.
Well, I remember one time, well, I know, go ahead, just start out.
well, no, I was just gonna say that, they said that he committed suicide, but maybe there was some
We
hanky-panky,
don't
maybe
know.
somebody,
We don't know. That's
No
maybe
way,
what-
no way,
somebody,
no one.
No way, no.
That's what they told us.
you know, you really don't know what might have happened to him.
That's what
They had their
told us.
doubts.
Yeah. So, but anyway, Mommy, you said a story too about he can come down here one time with his girlfriend,
Right.
and you had a pair of pearls.
He had sent me a pair of pearls, right, or given me a pair of pearls, right. And when
They were
she
nice
came
pearls.
down with these 3 women and another man, when he came down with those women, why, she asked me if she could see my necklace. The
Pearl
pearls that he must have told her, they gave me pearls, you
Uh-huh.
know. So he told her, and she wanted to see him. And when she saw him, oh, she says, oh, these are beautiful when looking, she said at the time. And she said, but you know, gee, if you would shine them, she says, I know a place in San Francisco where I could take them, she says, and shine them up for you. She said, oh, they look beautiful if you were shine. So me stupid, my mother didn't say too much.
So you-
we let her take them. So she took them. Okay, when she took them, she mailed me back a set of pearls, but they were nothing but wax.
So
They were
she
wax.
kept
They
the
broke-
good ones.
They broke. Sure, she kept the good ones and mailed me them.
Oh, my
Because you know darn well, Uncle Vito wouldn't send me a pair of
No,
No.
junk, you know. Right? They were good pearls, and that's why she wanted to see them, and that's why she took them. They didn't need no shining up. Well, I was just an innocent kid. I wasn't even married at the time.
Now-
I wasn't even 17 years, 15, 16 years
So
old.
you
That's all I
didn't,
was. Yeah, right.
you didn't realize that people would take advantage of you at that time.
And do you kids remember when Papa and you kids used to go mushroom hunting?
oh,
And
yeah.
then you'd come home and make these little flat little boxes.
About that wide,
and
that
place
long.
your mushrooms all just right. And then rush, hurry up, fast, because we gotta go catch that train in South Dos
4
Dallas
o'clock.
before it leaves. Yeah, right.
Why?
Okay. So one day they were in a hurry and they had all these little boxes packed, you know. They put them in this Model T Ford. And they were all standing there in front of Papa and the kids. And I don't know if Frank went with Papa or you.
No, just
Somebody,
us.
or was it just Frank and
Mom.
Papa in the Model T? I don't know, but anyway, Papa started the old Model T, and he started to leave, and he was on a turn. He was going around like this. And when he went around the turn like that, little Bobby was fooling around with the crank. You know, them days they had a crank. And he was fooling around with this little Bobby, I don't know how old, 3, 4 years old, maybe not even that old, maybe 2, 3 years old. And he's playing that crank. And when Papa went around like this, he went right over Bobby. And them days they had fenders. Cars had fenders, and they were pretty high off the ground. And they just missed him. Just missed him. Then after he went by, oh, my mother let out a scream. So we went to him, and then he was
But he didn't hit him.
No, he wasn't hurt. So
Well,
much
it's down
fun.
pretty high, though, Model Ts.
Yeah, those old Model Ts, you know.
Oh,
they're
my
pretty
See,
good.
we used to go out, you go out across the river, you know, that side of the river,
That was
or
all
Menifee
wild
Farm.
then.
Well, that was mushroom country.
Yeah.
Then we parked the pickup, the Model T, and we all walked. It was a mile, mile and a half, 2 5-gallon buckets apiece, then we all come in. Then we had to wash them and clean them, they had to be all buttons. And then we made these boxes of what, and the mushrooms are stuck, we put it in there 1 deep,
Yeah.
you know, about that long, about that wide. And then
Then you nail it
just
together.
well, you stack them on top of each other
Uh-huh.
with a lap on each end.
Yeah.
And then take them to depot, ship them, and they go to San Francisco, the
To the
commission
restaurants?
houses. And then if they sent you some money back, fine, if they'll.
Sometimes they would and
Yeah,
sometimes they
they sold,
wouldn't, huh?
okay, if they didn't, well, you never.
That's what we had,
Yeah,
that's what
for
made,
sure.
we made extra money, see?
Oh, but you never, sometimes, they probably got a lot of mushrooms that you didn't get paid for.
Well, not too much. Then Christmas and Thanksgiving time, we had turkeys. And you picked the turkeys, and they took them to the railroad and shipped them the same way.
Oh.
That's where everybody shipped their turkeys years ago. Remember, they used to pick them by hand.
Oh, yeah, we had
I'll
to
be
pick them by
darned.
hand.
So that was how most of the people made their money in those days, or extra money.
Extra money,
Well, yeah.
extra money.
Marcini had a turkey ranch, Marcini's.
Yeah, right.
They had a turkey ranch, they grew hundreds of turkeys, and they hired people to come, women to come pick them. And after they get through picking them, they all went to San Francisco the same way.
I'll be
There's no refrigerated cars or nothing like
No,
that.
I'll be darned. Well, how long would it take them to get to San
Well,
Francisco?
Well, it didn't take long, because the train, what, a
4
couple
o'clock.
hours, 3 hours?
4 o'clock in the afternoon, it'd probably be there maybe, about more, in the evening sometime, 10, 11 o'clock if you're in San Francisco.
And they get
Well, if being
refrigerated.
in Oakland, then they had to go
That's how
across.
they made their, that's how they made extra money, see?